Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. If you or someone you know receives Social Security or SSDI payments, I have some really exciting news that you absolutely need to hear about. Stick around because I'm going to be revealing some important dates and breaking down a potential relief program that could put money directly into your bank account. This could be a genuine game changer for many people who have been struggling financially. So let's dive right in. Over the past few years, we've seen various stimulus programs come and go. But what we're seeing now with this new proposal is something that's specifically designed to help Social Security and SSDI recipients. This is important because these are some of the most vulnerable populations in our country who really need support. The program that's being discussed includes the possibility of not just one, but potentially two stimulus checks. And we're talking about amounts up to $7,500 each. That's a significant amount of money that could really make a difference in someone's life, whether it's helping with medical bills, keeping up with rent, or just having a financial cushion for emergency situations. Now, I know you might be wondering where this information is coming from and whether this is actually legitimate. That's a fair question to ask, and I appreciate your healthy skepticism. What we're looking at here are proposals and discussions that have been happening in Congress and various government agencies. These are being seriously considered as part of broader relief efforts for people who depend on Social Security and SSDI for their survival. The fact that specific dates are being talked about shows that there's real movement happening behind the scenes. Let me break down what makes this program so important for Social Security recipients. When you're living on a fixed income, even small unexpected expenses can turn into major crisis. A car repair, a medical bill, or a spike in utilities can throw your entire budget into chaos. The idea behind the stimulus program is to provide people with enough breathing room to handle these kinds of situations without having to make impossible choices between paying for food or paying for medication. For many people receiving SSDI who are often dealing with disabilities or health issues, this kind of financial support could mean the difference between maintaining their independence and needing additional assistance. The way this program is structured is also noteworthy. Unlike some previous programs that had complicated application processes or eligibility requirements that were hard to meet, this one seems designed to be more straightforward for Social Security and SSDI recipients. The idea is to get money to people who need it most, and the government is looking at ways to streamline the process. Since the government already has information about who receives Social Security and SSDI payments, they can potentially implement this program without requiring tons of additional paperwork or complicated applications. When we talk about the two-time stimulus check aspect, what we mean is that eligible recipients could receive not one payment, but two separate payments over a period of time. This staggered approach can actually be helpful because it allows people to plan their finances and use the money strategically. Some people might use the first check to catch up on bills or medical expenses, and then use the second check to address other needs or save for future emergencies. The flexibility of receiving payments at different times can actually be more beneficial than receiving one large lump sum all at once. Now, let's talk about those dates that everyone's been asking about. While I want to be careful about making specific predictions, the word from various government offices and legislative discussions is that we should expect some announcements and potentially the beginning of the application or notification process in the coming months. Some sources suggest that we could see the first wave of notifications going out to eligible recipients, with the actual deposits potentially beginning soon after. It's important to stay informed and keep an eye on official government websites and your Social Security account, if you have one set up, because that's where you'll get the most accurate information about when exactly you can expect to receive these payments. One thing that's really important to understand is that this program is specifically targeting Social Security and SSDI recipients. If you receive Social Security retirement benefits, you could be eligible. If you receive SSDI because of a disability, you could be eligible. If you receive SSI, which is supplemental security income, you might also be eligible depending on the specific requirements of the final program. The government wants to make sure that the people who need help the most are the ones who get it, and that's the population they're focusing on. Let me address something that I think a lot of people are wondering about. You might be thinking this sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? And that's a very reasonable question. The reality is that government stimulus and relief programs are real and they do happen. We saw this during the pandemic with the three stimulus checks that went out to millions of Americans. We've also seen various targeted relief programs over the years. This proposal isn't coming out of nowhere. It's based on real legislation and real discussions happening in Congress with people who are specifically advocating for Social Security and SSDI recipients to get additional support. The amounts we're talking about, up to $7,500 per check, are substantial, but not unprecedented. When you think about what life is like for someone living on Social Security alone, these amounts represent a meaningful boost to their yearly income. For many people, it could represent several months of additional income, which can make a real difference in quality of life and financial security. What's also significant is the emphasis on the fact that these would be two separate payments rather than one. This shows that whoever is designing this program understands the needs of the people receiving it. They recognize that people might need the support spread out over time rather than in one lump sum. It also gives the government more flexibility in terms of when they can roll out the program and manage the logistics of getting money to millions of people. I want to talk for a moment about why this matters. So much for SSDI recipients specifically. Many people receiving SSDI are working age adults who have become disabled and can no longer work. Their benefits provide crucial support, but the amounts aren't always sufficient to cover all of their needs, especially if they have medical expenses or if they live in an area with high costs of living. Additional stimulus money could provide the relief they need to participate more fully in their communities, access services they might need, or simply reduce the constant stress of not knowing how they're going to pay for things. The timing of this program is also interesting to consider. We're at a point where people are still recovering financially from the impacts of the pandemic. Many people, including Social Security and SSDI recipients, faced additional hardships during that period. Now that the economy is adjusting and things are moving forward, there's renewed focus on making sure that vulnerable populations aren't left behind in the recovery process. This stimulus program is part of that broader effort to support people who have been historically overlooked or underserved by economic policy. Now, I want to make sure you understand how to stay in the loop about this. The best thing you can do is make sure your information is up to date with the Social Security Administration. If you're not already, consider creating an account on ssa.gov where you can manage your Social Security information and get updates directly from the government. You can also follow official government pages on social media or sign up for email alerts. Be very careful about where you get your information from because, unfortunately, whenever there's news about money going out to people, there are also scammers and fraudsters trying to take advantage of the situation. Always verify information through official government sources before taking any action or providing any personal information. One thing we should talk about is the application process or notification process. Based on what we know from previous programs, it's likely that the Social Security Administration will directly contact eligible recipients. You probably won't have to apply or do anything complicated. The government already has information about who receives Social Security and SSDI, so they can likely identify eligible people and then either send them payments automatically or notify them about how to claim their payment. This is good news because it means the barriers to access are probably going to be relatively low. Let me also discuss what this could mean for you personally. If you receive Social Security retirement benefits and you're struggling to make ends meet, this could give you breathing room to take care of things you've been putting off. Maybe you need new glasses, or your hearing aids need repairs, or you want to finally see a doctor about something that's been bothering you. Financial stress is real stress, and when you have a little extra money, it can genuinely improve your health and well-being. The same is true for SSDI recipients who often face additional health challenges and medical expenses on top of their regular living costs. The two-payment structure is also interesting from a planning perspective. If you receive the first payment, you have time to think about how you want to use it before the second payment arrives. This gives you the opportunity to be strategic about your finances rather than just using the money reactively. Some people might decide to use both payments to build a small emergency fund, while others might use them for specific purposes. Either way, having some control over the process is empowering. What's really exciting about all of this is that it represents a recognition from the government that Social Security and SSDI amounts are not always sufficient for people to live with dignity. For too long, people have been struggling on these payments. And proposals like this suggest that there's a growing understanding that we need to do better for this population. Whether this particular program passes and gets implemented exactly as described, or whether elements of it get incorporated into other programs, the momentum towards supporting Social Security and SSDI recipients more adequately is clearly there. I also want to emphasize the importance of protecting yourself during this process. As exciting as news about stimulus payments can be, it's important to remember that scammers often try to capitalize on this excitement. Don't give your Social Security number to anyone who contacts you by phone claiming to represent the government unless you initiated the contact and you verified that you're actually talking to a government agency. Don't click on links and emails claiming to be from the Social Security Administration unless you went to sa.gov yourself first and logged in to check your account. These are just basic precautions that can protect you from fraud. The bottom line is this: if you receive Social Security or SSDI, you should be paying attention to this news because it could directly affect your financial situation. While I always recommend being cautious about any information regarding government payments, the information we're discussing here comes from credible sources and represents real discussions happening in government. The dates being mentioned suggest that movement is happening and you want to be ready when these payments start going out. Make sure you're keeping your contact information up to date with Social Security. Make sure your bank account information is correct if you receive your benefits via direct deposit, which most people do now. Stay informed through official government channels. And most importantly, don't let stress about finances consume you. Help is on the way, and this stimulus program could be exactly what many people need to get back on solid ground. Keep watching this space for updates because I'll be sharing more information about this program as it becomes available. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any important information about Social Security, SSDI, or other financial support programs. If you have questions or personal situations you'd like to share, feel free to leave a comment below. I read through comments regularly, and I try to provide helpful information based on what people are asking about. Thank you for watching, and I hope this information has been helpful for you or someone you know.